Recently, I've been in a bit of a dilemma. I have no idea what to flip. I have a decent amount of knives so far that all flip really nicely. The Covenant, the Medusa, and the Basilisk are. But then I recently got this thing. The Vice Knives Telesto. It's one of those knives that you don't really hear much about in general. So, it was a very pleasant surprise to get to try one of these. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started, because I have some things to say about this thing. So the Telesto is one of those knives, as I said before, no one really talks about. But when they do, it's in a pass round or a blade show or some kind of meetup and something like that. And let's just say this knife didn't really meet my expectations to the T. The first big problem I have with this knife is the overall look and design of this thing. It's one straight line after another. It looks really boring and uncomplex, very uninspiring to look at. It just looks like another one of those channel titanium knives that I've seen before. And there are a lot of knives that do this too, like the Tsunami for one. That's a big one that does that. And the problem with both of them is that they both have a very uninspiring and plain look to them that I don't really feel like, just by looking at them, that they can speak to me that they are worth 700 plus. Both of them look very plain and boring, and this one especially does look very plain. Interesting thing about the packaging, which is just a standard pouch, is that the symbol of the deer on it kind of reminds me of like the symbol from the scary movie The Wretched. If any of you have ever seen that, you would know that the symbol actually looks pretty similar. I'm not too sure what that means, but it's interesting. Okay, now on to the main point of this video, which is my opinion. And again, it's purely my opinion. It may be very different for someone else who actually tries this knife besides me, but I hated how this thing flipped. It's not a good knife. I'm very glad that I got this in a pass round and didn't have to buy it, because I would have definitely cried if I bought this knife and it turns out it flipped this way. This knife had one of the worst balances I've ever felt. It felt so wonky. It's definitely Kershaw Lucha tier for how bad it is. And the balance of it was so terribly fucked that every single aspect of flipping besides fanning was just dreadful. I mean, the only thing this knife wanted to do was fan. It felt like an endless loop, and if you tried to get out of a endless fanning loop, it would just mess up your combo and basically ruin your entire set. Chaplains felt like they would fly off any second and just stab you in the face, and aerials never felt so random. I've never felt such a random feeling knife when it came to aerials. Because of how square the handles are and how there's no taper or wide face at all in this thing, it just wants to fan, and that's really all this knife can do, is fan. I'm really tired of seeing how overrated this knife is. People overrate it because of how good it sounds, and I don't agree with this knife. It's not good. The sound isn't enough to make up for how just bad the flipping experience is. I would definitely avoid this knife for sure, because it just feels like one big expensive toy that you don't care for and is bad. But those are my thoughts. Your thoughts might be different. I really don't think this knife belongs in my collection. I have a decent amount of nice knives, and this doesn't even come close to any of these knives that you can see on screen right now. I don't like it, but that's just my opinion. And yes, I do keep a silica packet in my knife case, because sometimes I do get very hungry whenever I'm flipping my knives. So yeah. Anyways, that's today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Tune in next time for the Covenant review. See you guys later.